I am 35 years old and engaged to my fiancé Cole, who is 36 years old. He has a childhood best friend, Jay, who is also 36 years old. Jay has been nothing but disrespectful and horrible ever since I met my now fiancé. When we first met, I had a child, and Jay would constantly make remarks about it to Cole and be extremely disrespectful. I found out Jay was telling him he shouldn't date women with kids and that I'm probably promiscuous, etc. He suggested that since I'm probably promiscuous, Cole should just try to profit from me, which is the really insane comment I will always remember whenever I hear his name. Keep in mind, I had never met or spoken to Jay before. This all stemmed from him not wanting Cole to talk to someone with a kid. I was furious when I found out what he was saying. I thought, what is wrong with your friend? Cole would always dismiss it and make excuses for him, like, oh, that's just Jay. Jay's crazy. He doesn't matter, and would try to laugh it off. Eventually, we broke up and got back together a few years later, and Jay popped up again with the same nonsense as before. He got my phone number, which had to have come from Cole's phone, and would text me, calling me every name and just being overall degrading and disrespectful. I let Cole know and told him he needed to handle the situation because there is no reason why Jay should have my number or feel comfortable enough to say what he was saying. The last straw was when I got an angry call from Cole out of nowhere. He was furious and yelling, and I was trying to figure out why he was so angry. He tells me I have been cheating and shares crazy details that never happened. This came out of left field and I had no idea what he was talking about. He proceeds to tell me I'm lying because I'm not admitting to it. After a while of arguing, he finally reveals that Jay let him know. Jay told him I have been cheating and sleeping around with who knows who, and that he told him there is a video of me in the act that Jay saw. I immediately see red because he has crossed so many lines and boundaries at this point. Now we are arguing about completely made-up situations, so I call his bluff and demand to see the video and pictures. Cole, still furious, admits he hasn't seen the video or pictures and that Jay hasn't shown him the proof yet because it doesn't exist. Anyway, he believed his friend because he thinks his friend wouldn't lie to him. This, of course, caused a very emotional argument, resulting in us breaking up. Jay lived with his sister, who was home hearing Jay's whole conversation, and I have also never met or talked to his sister. She calls Cole to let him know that Jay made up the whole thing to upset him and make us break up because he doesn't like me and was at home thinking up ways to make Cole mad at me. She felt the need to get involved and let Cole know because she was hearing how upset he was and thought he should know the truth. He comes back and admits to me that Jay was lying and he's sorry for not believing me. But for me, the damage was already done. Trust had been broken too much for me, and too many lines had been crossed. Fast forward 4 years. We cross paths again. We are now in our 30s and different people than before. We give it another try. After a year, he proposed and we are engaged. During wedding talk, he brings up Jay, and I let him know I don't want him at the wedding. I've told him this countless times, but he would laugh it off. I'm not sure if he thought I would just let it go and forget or what. He also keeps saying that Jay has supposedly apologized and says he barely remembers what happened back then. Our wedding is now 2 months away. Cole tells me last week via text that he is going to invite Jay. I reply that no, Jay is not invited. He says he is not going to leave one of his best friends out of his wedding. I remind him it's also my wedding. It's our wedding, and I'm not going to have someone I don't like and who disrespected me the way he did at my wedding. Now, his defense is that it was a long time ago, in the past, and I need to let it go because Jay told him he was sorry and barely remembers. Well, I remember, and I don't accept his third-party apology. He told me I'm picking a fight, and he's not going to argue about it, that he's inviting Jay. He told me that I don't have to talk to Jay at the wedding and that Jay won't talk to me. I'm truly baffled about why he thinks that's a solution. And okay, I told him I'm not going to have a wedding where I can't talk to everyone. Why would I be okay with having someone at my wedding that I have to avoid? He keeps saying that he told Jay we won't speak to each other at the wedding, and I need to let it go. I got fed up and a little petty and told him to figure out his priorities for the wedding. Is the priority his future wife or his childhood best friend? If his main focus is his friend being there, then I can change the name of the invitations to Jay and Cole, I can update the guests, and I hope the two of them have a great wedding together. If Jay is there, then I won't be. The more I think about it and how much he is dismissing my feelings and fighting for his friend to be there, the angrier I'm getting about it. Am I the one at fault because this was years ago and I don't accept his apology or want him around me? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It took Jay's sister intervening for you even to have a relationship with Cole. Jay made a premeditated and successful attempt to end your relationship last time. Why does it matter how long ago it was? It's awesome that Jay apologized to Cole. But did he ever say afterwards, "Cole, you should give her a call. I was a total jerk, and you should try to make that right"? Or, "Cole, I really feel bad about what I did 6 months ago"? Was there ever a time when he had a sincere moment that showed any real remorse? I don't think Cole really loves you that much. Everything he has said and done is completely inconsistent with that. I think he really just wants a roommate with benefits. He is not agreeing with the idea that you are an equal partner in the relationship. Comment 2. We're now in our 30s and different people than before. No, you're not different people now. You're still the same pair of fools, repeating the same foolish pattern. Why would you marry a man who willfully chooses to keep someone close by who, time and time again, has not only openly sabotaged his relationship, but also doesn't take it seriously when his friend has been openly hostile and disgusting to you? Your irresponsible fiancé won't take your concerns seriously and is fine with his destructive friend being around. And you want to subject your child to this? You are the antagonist for entertaining this nonsense again. Where is your self-respect? Now for the update. I'm still dealing with the Jay situation. A week after my last post, things with Cole and I are still up in the air. His friendship with Jay is like this massive problem in the middle of our relationship, and every time I think we're making progress, it just feels like we're getting stuck on it. So last week, we went to dinner at Cole's parents' house, which I usually love because they make the best lasagna. But like I said, the whole Jay thing is just hanging over us like a really bad smell. We were all sitting around the table, and I was trying to focus on the food. I mean, it's hard to be mad when you're eating homemade garlic bread, but it was still there, you know? So out of nowhere, Cole's mom asked us how the wedding planning was going. She was super excited, talking about how she can't wait for the big day, and then she dropped the news. She mentioned how happy she was that we invited Jay. I felt like I was going to choke on my pasta. I mean, seriously? Not even a heads up? I looked at Cole, and he just had this goofy smile on his face like a kid on Christmas morning. His dad even chimed in, making some joke about how Jay's basically family. I wanted to scream. I really did. I tried to cut in, saying how uncomfortable I felt about Jay being there, but Cole just brushed me off, saying it was just a dinner and not the wedding. Yeah, like that makes it any better. We all started talking about wedding details after that. His sister is getting married soon too, so she was full of ideas about color palettes and flower arrangements, and I was just trying not to lose it. It's hard to be mad about floral arrangements when you're literally in the middle of a discussion about them. After dinner, I pulled Cole aside in the kitchen. I just couldn't take it anymore. I told him how I felt like I was being ignored and walked all over. He said that Jay has changed and deserves a chance, whatever that means. His tone was so defensive, like I was personally out to ruin his life or something. I mean, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm not the one who made up lies about him and cheated on him. He said I was just holding on to the past. We went back to the table after that, but you could feel the tension. I could tell his sister was trying to lighten the mood when she suggested a toast. Everyone raised their glasses, but I just sat there, feeling like the odd one out. It was just a bad night all around. Later that week, I saw a message on my phone from Cole's sister. She was inviting me to a group chat about the wedding, and you guessed it, Jay was invited. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was just trying to plan a wedding, and now there was this group chat inviting Jay to the wedding. I was so upset that I called Cole, but he was out with some friends or something. He found out about the message later, and oh man, did it not go well. He confronted me about it, saying it was unfair to exclude someone who wanted to be part of our lives. He accused me of trying to control his friendships, and I just lost it. We ended up having this huge fight, and his sister came over to help, but it was just so bad. I don't know if things are ever going to be okay between us. The next day, I came home to find Cole packing his bags for a weekend trip. I asked him where he was going, and he said he was going to visit Jay. He acted like it was no big deal, but it really hurt me. He said he needed to clear the air and support his friend, like I haven't been supporting him through all this. I felt so abandoned. I brought up the wedding again, saying we needed to talk about it, but he just promised to think about it and walked out. We didn't even say goodbye. On Sunday, I got a call from Cole while he was with Jay. He told me that Jay wanted to apologize to me in person. He was all excited about it, saying it could be a good step toward resolution. I didn't know what to say. I was just so done with everything. I didn't want to deal with Jay and his apology tour, and I told him that. He came home later that day, and we had this silent dinner. It was so awkward. We didn't say a word to each other, just ate our food and went to bed. The wedding is coming up fast. Cole and I are still at a standstill over the whole thing. I don't even know what's going to happen. Edit. The situation has escalated. After my last post, I decided to speak with Cole's sister about my feelings towards Jay being invited to the wedding. She agreed and promised to talk to Cole about it. However, the next day, Cole confronted me, revealing that his sister had betrayed my trust. Am I the idiot for cutting off my entire family and keeping my pregnancy a secret after they betrayed me? This is going to dip into a little childhood trauma. I am a 27-year-old female, and I have stopped talking to my parents, who are 54 and 44 years old, and my two brothers, who are 35 and 21 years old. My brothers haven't done anything wrong in recent years. It's just that I don't want them to tell my parents about me. For this to make any sense, I'll illustrate my childhood a little bit. As you can tell, I was the only daughter. We all have different dads, which may play into my treatment because I was the only illegitimate child. The man who I call my father is my youngest brother's dad, who adopted me when I was 6 years old. Growing up, I was the only one given chores. I was treated like Cinderella. I was the one who cooked, cleaned the house, and did all the outdoor chores as well. I was a good kid, other than my depression that went untreated because my parents believed kids couldn't be depressed. A lot of days I would be missing the energy to do anything. Those are the days I'd get beaten by my mother and put on punishment until I admitted I was wrong. Fast forward to October of 2020, which was a bad year for everyone. My depression, along with infection 19, skyrocketed during the quarantine and after separating from my ex-husband the year before. Darkness engulfed me, and I snapped, trying to take my own life. Someone called 911 before my mistake was permanent, but the most traumatizing part was when my mother came to talk to me while I was being loaded onto the ambulance. Not to see how I was doing, but to tell me I was homeless now and not to come back to her house. I was instantly crushed because, in a moment when I needed her, she abandoned me. My father is a different can of worms. He felt it was his duty to communicate with my ex-husband and tell him my whole life. I didn't learn about this until 6 months after my unalived attempt. Now my ex-husband has weaponized all the information my father has told him, and I don't even fully know what was said or if any of it was fabricated. I spoke to my parents to tell them that I can't forgive their actions until they fully understand what they did and can admit to it. They now both have full communication with my ex-husband, which is the exact opposite of what I need to trust them. Am I the wrong one for not speaking to my parents until they admit they're wrong for my treatment? I'm only asking now, after all these years, because I'm pregnant, and I plan on never letting them know that the child exists. Side note, even if you find me in the wrong, I most likely won't be letting them back into my life due to the fact my mental health has improved greatly the more time I spend away from them. I never thought I could feel happy until I stopped talking to them and stop trying to be that perfect daughter they tried to create. This was more to get it off my chest and hopefully show someone that toxic relationships aren't worth it, no matter who it is. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the jerk. They use your ex-husband as a means to tie you to a knot and keep you under control. Break free and disappear. It was very awful what your mom told you in the ambulance, and you aren't in the wrong at all. They want you to be a mess so they can control you. Run. Comment 2. Not the jerk. Change your phone number, and if they know where you live and it is possible for you, move. And no matter what they say, do not tell them about the child or have them near the child. Your parents are known child abusers, and it is not safe. Now for the update. My pregnancy is progressing, and I'm focusing on creating a safe space for my child. I got a message from my dad asking for a chance to talk, but I ignored it. My mom sent a text saying she misses me, but I didn't respond. I decided to go to a local support group for new moms to meet others in similar situations. At the support group, I met a woman named Sarah, who became a good friend. Sarah invited me to her baby shower, which was happening in a week. I hesitated but decided to go as it felt good to bond with other expectant moms. The baby shower was at Sarah's house with decorations everywhere. As I was chatting with a few women, I noticed an unfamiliar face in the corner. It turned out to be my older brother, Jake, who had come with his wife, Rachel. Jake came up to me, asking how I was doing, but I kept my responses short. Rachel chimed in, saying they missed me and hoped I was okay. I felt uncomfortable, so I excused myself to grab a drink from the kitchen. While I was in the kitchen, I overheard Jake telling another guest about my family situation. He mentioned how our parents were worried about me and the baby. I found Sarah and told her what I overheard. She encouraged me to confront them. I went up to them at the party, feeling determined to speak my mind. I asked Jake why he felt it was okay to discuss my life with strangers. He seemed surprised and said he was just looking out for me. I reminded him of the betrayal that led to my decision to cut ties. Rachel jumped in, trying to mediate, but I felt overwhelmed. I left the conversation quickly and went outside to breathe. Sarah followed me, offering support and asking if I needed anything. I told her I just wanted to be left alone for a moment. After a few minutes, I went back to the party, but the vibe felt different. I noticed my parents texting me, asking if I was okay and if we could talk. I ignored the messages, focusing on having a good time with Sarah. Later that evening, Jake came up to me again, looking serious. He said he wanted to apologize for discussing me with others. I told him it was too late and that trust was broken. He looked disappointed, but said he would always be there if I needed him. The next day, I got a call from Sarah saying she had some news. She revealed she had been in contact with my parents and they were concerned about me. I ended the call quickly and decided to block my parents' numbers. Weeks later, my ex-husband unexpectedly showed up at my house, demanding to see me. I stood my ground, refusing to let him in, reminding him of our past. He left angrily. To answer a few questions, my brothers and I had a complicated relationship. My mom has always been my dad's only wife. My ex came to my house unannounced and tried to manipulate me. Am I the idiot for telling my terminally ill sister to stop ruining her son's wedding plans? My nephew, a 25-year-old man, also known as my sister's 52-year-old daughter and only child, and his fiancée recently got engaged and are planning to have the wedding about 6 months from now. 3 years ago, my sister was given a maximum of 6 months to live. During this time, my sister, her husband, and a lot of our extended family members, including my nephew's aunts, uncles, and cousins on both sides, started pressuring and trying to guilt trip him into getting married during this time via an arranged marriage. We are Indian American, but most of our extended family lives back home, so my sister could see her only child get married. My nephew refused to get married that quickly, citing that he wasn't going to rush such an important decision for any reason. I told him that he had my support no matter what he chose to do. My sister miraculously ended up surviving, but the close relationship she once had with my nephew was never the same after. 2 years ago, my nephew started dating a girl, and they recently got engaged. Our specific ethnic group tends to be dual faith, meaning we follow two religions, and it is possible to perform marriage rites by one or both faiths. My nephew's fiancé only follows one of these religions. My nephew says that he is fine with having just one wedding ceremony through the religion his fiancé follows, while my sister is adamant that they do two wedding ceremonies, one for each religion. My sister is still angry that my nephew didn't listen to her 3 years ago and didn't get married then. And she is using this to somewhat emotionally blackmail my nephew into planning his wedding according to her wishes. My nephew is rightfully stubborn and refuses to give in, resulting in my sister and her husband threatening to not come to the wedding and not perform parental duties at his wedding. My nephew took my sister's words at face value and messaged me yesterday, telling me what happened and asking if my husband and I could fill in for his parents at the wedding. I haven't responded to him yet. I called my sister today and tried to reason with her that she was going to end up missing her only child's wedding if she continued trying to manipulate my nephew into planning his wedding according to her wishes. I told her that if she didn't fix things and was set on skipping the wedding, my husband and I would step in and perform the parental duties. She doubled down and threatened to cut me off if I did this, saying I had no right to interfere in her relationship with her son or be involved in the wedding as anything more than a guest. Right now, I'm 99% sure that my sister is not going to change her mind. Would I be the antagonist if I honored my nephew's request? To add, I've been getting a lot of messages asking about the religions. My family follows a blend of Sikhism and Hinduism, although most members of our family did choose only one faith to marry by. My nephew's fiancé is solely Sikh, and they are planning a Sikh wedding. My sister is adamant that they have a Hindu wedding ceremony as well. I find my sister particularly unreasonable since this is the same situation as our grandfather, who married a Sikh woman with just a Sikh ceremony. I read the comments and will be telling my nephew that my husband and I hope that his mother accepts his plans as they are, but if not, we will certainly step in as the parental figures at his wedding. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Your sister wants to punish him by not going and wants him to suffer by not having anyone perform the parental duties. If you take over, as you should, yes, then he doesn't get her full punishment. Your sister is being unreasonable, and she's destroying her relationship with her son for something ridiculous. Be a good aunt and do whatever your nephew needs you to do. I hope his wedding is fabulous and without drama. Comment 2. Not the a-hole. Your sister is doing a quick job of becoming uninvited and having no contact with her son, his fiancé, and any potential grandchildren, if the happy couple are so inclined. Traditions are great. Trying to use them to control others isn't. Her choices are questionable and will have consequences. Being there to support your nephew and his bride, that's not being the ahole. That's being family. Now, for the update, I'm back with another update on the wedding drama, and wow, is there a lot to catch up on. So, it's been 3 weeks since that last family dinner where the sister lost it over the wedding plans. Yeah, that one. The nephew called me the other day to fill me in on more of her nonsense. Apparently, she's been sending him these passive-aggressive messages about the wedding. He even sent me screenshots of one where she said the venue wasn't suitable for a proper ceremony. Like, what does she even mean by that? The couple picked a place they liked, not a place that meets her standards. Totally not okay. I figured we needed to talk this out in person. So I invited both the nephew and the sister over for dinner. I kept it casual, just a simple meal and hopefully a relaxed atmosphere to get everyone talking. Of course, the sister showed up late. She was wearing this expression like she was ready to fight, and it was obvious she was still upset from our last dinner. The nephew was anxious, just picking at his food, while the sister immediately started criticizing the wedding plans. She was going off about how her son was making a huge mistake by having a Sikh wedding and disregarding family traditions. I mean, come on. The nephew defended his choice, saying his fiancé's family had been nothing but supportive and respectful. It's true, they have been great. Then I tried to mediate, reminding her that this was her son's choice and he deserves to be happy. but she just yelled at me, accusing me of siding with him and not respecting family values. I can't even. The nephew got up from the table, upset, and said he couldn't take the negativity anymore. He told me outside that he was thinking about eloping just to avoid all this family drama. A few days later, I met him at a coffee shop to talk about other options. He mentioned that his fiancée was considering excluding his mom from the wedding altogether. That would just make things worse. I suggested another family meeting, but he was nervous about having the sister involved again. Things got really bad when the sister posted this passive-aggressive message on social media about family betrayal. I decided to respond publicly, emphasizing the need for unity and respect. She called me, furious, demanding an apology for airing family matters in public. I told her no way, reminding her that she was the one causing all this chaos. A week later, the nephew told me that his fiancée's family had found some alternative venues for a Sikh wedding that would also respect Hindu traditions. Thank goodness. During a family gathering for Diwali, the sister confronted the nephew in front of everyone, calling him selfish. It was embarrassing, and I felt so bad for him. I decided to reach out to the fiancée's family for help. They were more than willing to facilitate a discussion with the sister. A few days later, the nephew got a package from them with traditional gifts for the wedding. The sister saw this and got even more upset, saying it was an attempt to undermine her. I told the nephew to keep going with the plans. Her demands were only going to keep getting worse. At our next family dinner, she made a huge announcement, saying that she wouldn't be attending the wedding at all. The nephew was relieved, but still hurt. He agreed to go ahead with the wedding even without her. Then she sent me this message, threatening to cut ties with anyone who supported the wedding. Goodness. So the wedding day finally arrived, and everyone gathered at this beautiful venue the couple had chosen. I watched as the ceremony unfolded, filled with love and joy, despite the sister's absence. It was really heartwarming. After the ceremony, I got a message from the sister, demanding to know why she wasn't informed about the wedding details. I decided not to respond. I know the family's dynamics have changed, and there's no going back. Edit: the sister has since gone radio silent, but she did send a passive-aggressive gift for the wedding. The nephew and his fiancée are genuinely happy, and they've asked me to be their child's godparent when the time comes. The sister's absence is still felt, but life goes on. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.